I'm here this morning in order to speak to you about the policing issues that are happening in KZN as well as in the Republic of South Africa. So I'm presenting this briefing to the citizens of this province, and by extension, the inhabitants of the Republic of South Africa, specifically about the work of the political killings task team. It's been spoken about a lot, I'm sure you know that. Let me give a bit of a background about this political killings task team. In 2018, the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Ramaphosa, established the Interministerial Committee, which we refer to as IMC, which consists of the Ministers of Police, the Minister of State Security, the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services and Correctional Development. These ministers were given a task by the President to ensure that they deal with matters of security nature that affect political leadership in this province. You will recall that the minister had visited the family of the late Musawenkosi Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi in Plesisle in Pietermaritzburg in May 2018. It was then where this IMC was established by the President. So it is a committee of ministers, not a police-directed operation, but a committee that involves different departments. The IMC at the time met and listened to the investigation report that was presented, the so-called political task team that was established before them. And the observation, amongst others, was that the task team was working in silos. It was compromised, and that it did not have any investigation as well as a prosecutorial plan or strategy. As a result, there was a little or no progress in the investigation and prosecution of these cases. A decision was therefore taken by the IMC to establish a national integrated multidisciplinary task team, which consists of the South African Police Service, the National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, supported by both state security as well as correctional services, which commenced its work in July of 2018 to implement the now tried and tested analysis-led and prosecution-driven investigation strategy. As a result of the excellent performance, the political killings task team has been assigned in another presidential intervention project. I can name the few: the killing of the traditional leaders in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, as well as the murders that happened in the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape. Since the establishment of this political killings task team in July 2018, the team has been investigating a total of 612 case dockets. These case dockets include murders, attempted murders, intimidation, conspiracy to commit murders, and other cases. A total of 436 suspects were arrested and charged. 156 firearms were recovered, of which 55 of them were linked directly with ballistically through our forensic testing to the political related cases. An additional 35 suspects who are members of the South African Police Service were arrested. The notable one is the one who's now in prison, who's been working with the parliamentarian who was involved in the murder, about the murder of one Siniso Magado. We're going to talk about that later. A total of 128 accused were found guilty on 106 cases. 29 accused were sentenced to life in prison. 40 accused were sentenced between 10 to 35 years. 25 accused were sentenced between 1 to 9 years. 23 accused were sentenced between 3 to 12 months. And there's quite a lot of awaiting trial prisoners that are going to be finalize in the next coming few weeks. So a total of sentences that is total number of years that has been given, if I add all of them, amounts to about 1,801 years of imprisonment. This is the work done by the team since 2018 to date that have led into the successful prosecution because of this integration working between the SAPS and the prosecution. On the 26th of March 2025, this year, a total of 121 case dockets that were under investigation were taken away from the task team as directed by a Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, a Lieutenant General Sibiya, who was acting on the instruction of the Minister of Police to disband the team. This was done without the authority of the National Commissioner, nor I, as a Provincial Commissioner, was never informed. These case dockets have since March been sitting at the head office ever since, without any investigation work done on them. 5 of these dockets had already instruction to arrest perpetrators, but nothing has been done because a Lieutenant General Sibiya, being instructed by the minister, executing instruction of the minister, withdrew all these dockets and they are sitting in archive in his office in Pretoria. God knows why. Therefore, only a total of 112 dockets which are still in court, of which 54 of them are political related and others will include parallel ad hoc, as well as the dockets that are involving the incident at Fort Hare University, and 5 of them are traditional leadership, are still with the team at this present moment. In the year 2024, a request was received from Gauteng Organized Crime Investigating Unit to assist with the investigation to dismantle the organized crime syndicate that was operating in Gauteng, that was controlled in Gauteng but operating in the rest of the country and in neighboring countries. I, as a Provincial Commissioner, took a decision to deploy 10 members from this political killings task team to go and support this organized crime unit in Gauteng. I can tell South Africans that this decision was a cause for the disbandment letter of this team because they overstepped their mandate of only focusing in KZN. They went to support Gauteng organized crime unit with the dismantling of a criminal syndicate. And I can confirm before the South Africans today that the investigation which these members were involved with in Gauteng has unmasked the syndicate. And this syndicate involves, amongst others, politicians who are currently serving in Parliament. The law enforcement officers include the members of the South African Police Service, the Metro Police, and correctional services. They include prosecutors in Gauteng province, the judiciary, and all these are controlled by the drug cartel as well as business people in that province of Gauteng. This act, of course, undermines the criminal justice system in this country. Mr. Brown Mokgotsi sends a WhatsApp message to myself, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, regarding the allegation on the defeating the ends of justice matters which were widely publicized, which involves an incident that happened at the correctional service at Mpangeni in KwaZulu-Natal. Mr. Brown sends this message in September last year, long before the news came out in public about the incident that happened at Mpangeni. He sends this message. In this message that he sends to the Provincial Commissioner, he attaches a police letter and he attaches a copy of the occurrence book, a register that is used at the police station that's supposed to only be accessed by police officers. But Mr. Brown, who's not a police officer, attaches those in his message and he sends it to the Provincial Commission. His word says there is a plot to charge you. Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi also sends a screenshot of a presentation that was made on the 30th of September 2024, a presentation that was titled 2024-2025 Division Crime Intelligence Policies. He sends this to myself, Lieutenant Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, as a Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal. Surely this must have been a classified information where crime intelligence are presenting their policies. But this man has access to that, and he's not a policeman. When asked to share the copy of this presentation through that WhatsApp communication, he responded by saying, General Khan will brief you next week. There's only one General Khan in the South African Police Service, so is one Lieutenant General Sibiya in the South African Police Service. I've never heard of any other lieutenant generals in any other way in the security cluster in the country with the very same names. So I assume these are the colleagues that I know very well. He further wrote on the very same WhatsApp message. He said that, I quote, the minister is briefed. He has just arrived in Lusikisiki, end quote. You will recall, colleagues, that we had an incident in Lusikisiki, a mass murder that happened there. And the Minister of Police had gone visiting the families and that crime scene. So after this communication, the Provincial Commissioner called the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, the Chief of Staff of the Minister of Police, and asked the Chief of Staff, who is this Brown Mkhwanazi? This Brown Mkhwanazi seems to be traveling with the Minister to Lusikisiki. Who is he? Because I've never heard of him. The response from the Chief of Staff was that Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi is an associate of the Minister, but is not employed in a department. That's when I got a confirmation about Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi. And I asked the Chief of Staff to send the phone number of this Brown Mkhwanazi, of which he did. It is that number that made me to confirm that indeed the person who's sending me WhatsApp messages is the same person that is called Brown Mkhwanazi and is from Northwest. On the 5th of March 2025, the South African Police appeared before the Portfolio Committee in Parliament. A presentation was made to this Portfolio Committee by the Provincial Commission of KwaZulu-Natal, which included the allegations of an associate of the Minister of Police, Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi. The Minister denied on record. Go and Google a visual presentation to the Portfolio Committee on the 5th of March this year, towards the end of that briefing, where the Minister of Police responded and he said he does not know this Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi. He said that in Parliament. However, the Minister confirmed that he knows this Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi during the telephone conversation that he had, which was posted on X under the a handler at Load Care. This was on the 30th of March, where he confirmed that this was his comrade from Northwest. The conversation between the minister and that lady is available. You can go on X and find it on the 30th. If it has been removed from that account, as we finish this briefing, I'll share that with you. The evidence has been found in the cell phone of Mr. Vusimus, also known as Cat Nhlanhla, which shows the communication between Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi and the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu. As I said, this was the beginning of the closure of the political task team. I've tried to outline some sequence of events. I had said the team left for Gauteng to go and assist organized crime in Gauteng. There was a shooting incident that had occurred in April 2024, where Mr. Swart, a QTech employee, was fatally shot while entering the company premises. QTech has been a long-standing service provider to Transnet. Shortly after the incident, 3 suspects, including a warrant officer, a South African Police Service warrant officer, a detective Tau Pule, were arrested in Johannesburg. During the arrest, weapons that were used in this murder, which was an AK-47 and a pistol, along with cell phones, were confiscated. I must applaud the team in Gauteng who had effected this arrest before the arrival of the team in KZN. It is the challenges that this investigating team of Gauteng encountered that led into the invitation to the KwaZulu-Natal police to go and assist. The KwaZulu-Natal Political Killings Task Team arrival, they took these weapons and they went and tested them. So they conducted a ballistic test in order to check whether these firearms were linked with that murder and many other murders perhaps that will have occurred in the country. Maybe let me pause on that one and come back into what had happened prior to us receiving the results from the task team, ballistic test results. On the 6th of December 2024, the task team visited the premises of the 2 of the high-profile syndicate, of which one, Mr. Katiso Molefe, was arrested for the murder of Mr. Swart of QTech. During that arrest, an unusual activities were observed whilst the team were busy with the operation. These activities included a dispatching of members of the South African Police Service under the command of a senior manager at the head office to go and interrupt the operation that was unfolding. Fortunately, when they arrived there, the members realized that it is indeed a police operation, so they allowed the members to carry out their operation without disturbance. On the 30th December 2024, the ballistic expert issued a ballistic report which linked these firearms not only with the murder of Mr. Swart, but these firearms were linked with a number of high-profile cases. And these cases include very high-profile South African artists that were murdered in Gauteng, which occurred dating back as far as 2021. I'm not going to mention them, but we have them on record. On the 31st of December 2024, the Minister of Police, Mr. Senzo Mchunu, issues a letter to disband the Political Killings Task Team and to suspend the filling of vacancies within crime intelligence. In January, February, and April this year, the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, Lieutenant General Sibia, issued written instructions withdrawing all these cases from the task team to his office. On the 14th of May this year, 2025, the task team arrested Vusi Muzi, who is also known as Cat Nhlanhla, for an attempted murder ×3. I must highlight that this Mr. Vusi Muzi Cat Nhlanhla is an individual who was awarded a police contract of over 360 million rand in 2024. An analysis was conducted on electronic communication of this arrested person. This analysis reveals communication between the arrested Vusimus at Cat Nhlanhla, Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi, an associate of the Minister of Police, as well as the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu. On the 1st of January, the letter is issued on the 31st. On the 1st of January, 2025, Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi sends a WhatsApp to Vusi Muzi Cat Nhlanhla and it reads as follows, I quote, "I have arranged a meeting for Sibiya and the minister. They must have a solution." And it follows another message. "The task team that came to your house and harassed you have been dissolved. They got the letter on Monday. As we speak, they are bringing all docket to Sibiya." This letter is issued on the 31st of December 2024. This communication is on the very next day, the 1st of January 2025, where it says the dockets have been called and have been sent to Sibiya. Yes, we know the dockets only were sent to Sibiya in March this year. Further analysis of the chats indicates that Vusimuzi Nhlanhla is financially supporting the Minister of Police and Mr. Brown Mokgotzi's political endeavors. This is supported by the evidence of conversation and the proof of payments of guests for January 8 traveling cost and the Ghana dinner in Cape Town, which was done in 2025. The proof of payment, we have it. As I said, we're going to share with you where Mr. Nhlanhla is sending this proof of payment to Mr. Brown Mokgotzi. On the 2nd of January 2025, at about 10:05 in the morning, Vusimuzi Nhlanhla receives a copy of the letter of the disbandment of the political killing stars team from Mr. Brown Mokgotzi, who is an associate with the Minister of Police. I pause to remind you that this is the very same Brown Mokgotzi that the Minister of Police had denied in Parliament and later confirmed to be his comrade but not involved with police matters. But he's sending this communication. That's what we have discovered through the investigation. On the 14th of January 2025, Mr. Brown communicates with Mr. Vusimuzi Nhlanhla as follows, I quote, "Sure, don't forget to work on your invoices." On the 15th January, Mr. Vusimuzi Nhlanhla responds with a screenshot of an invoice that he has submitted to the South African Police Service, which I guess was due for payment on his contract. On the 26th of January 2025, Mr. Brown Mokgotzi sent a message to the Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu, which reads as follows, I quote, "The guy of the funding in bracket 20 is also in Joburg from Tuesday. He is the one I said has a 3 billion contract with SAPS." Close quote. Open quote, again another message. "I am also meeting with the DNC and the COS today." Now, in the abbreviation, the DNC in the South African Police Service is referred to as the Deputy National Commissioner, and the COS would be, in this regard, the Chief of Staff. He says, "I'm also meeting with the DNC and Chief of Staff today in Durban for finalization of Khumalo and General Mkhwanazi's matter." Close quote. Another message reads, "DNC is waiting for the Chief of Staff here. This is very significant." Close quote. This is extracted from the communication of the arrested person. So we ask ourselves a question. Is there a theory of conspiracy targeting senior officers involving the Minister of Police in this country? On the 31st of December, we have seen Mr. Brown Mokgotzi sending the following message to the Minister of Police, which reads, "Minister, I'm going to get the case number and the judgment for you. Now we got something proven by the court. It is a matter now which either Sibiya or the minister can charge Khumalo and apply Rule 9 of the disciplinary regulations of the South African Police Service. It took the Constitutional Court to release a man who was sentenced to life imprisonment through a forced Section 204 confession. Imagine, Comrade Senzo, after 30 years of democracy, having this kind of policing. The good thing now is that these are not allegations, but a court judgment." This is extracted from a conversation that Mr. Brown Mokgotzi is sending to the Minister of Police. On the 13th of May this year, the contract of Vusumuzi Cat Nhlanhla was cancelled by the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service. On the 14th of May this year, Vusumuzi Cat Nhlanhla sent a message to Brown Mkhwanazi, which reads, I quote, "Morning, just to let you know that my contract was cancelled yesterday, and I see you've been ignoring me and promising me things that never happened. Luckily, took screenshots of every conversation just in case something like this might happen. I'm taking all this to media and some to court on Friday when I do the interdict." Close quote. On the 30th of May 2025, the Investigative Directorate Against Corruption, which is referred to as IDEC, requests the exhibits from the cell phone of Vusumuzi Cat Nhlanhla from the political killings task team, and they download the content of the cell phone. IDEC is a unit that was established to deal with corruptions in the country. We don't know what is it that we're investigating for them to come and ask for these cell phone downloads. On the 25th of May, on the 30th of May, I beg your pardon. On the 25th of June this year, the project coordinator of the political killings task team is arrested by IDEC. A dramatic arrest. A dramatic arrest. On the 26th of June 2025, the accused, Katiso Katie Molefe, who was arrested by the very same task team, was granted bail. Guess that one went under the radar. The work of the organized crime in Gauteng, supported by the political killings task team, has indeed been compromised. The disbandment of the political killings task team was influenced by the sterling work that they performed in Gauteng to uncover the criminal syndicate, which involved some members of the criminal justice system operating in Gauteng province, and not because of what I presented earlier, which was the work they did in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Their demise was as a result of them assisting Gauteng to uncover the criminal syndicate. Despite all these challenges, we acknowledge and appreciate the resilience of the members of the political killings task team. The political killings task team remains operational, albeit its attempt to disrupt its work to protect and serve the inhabitants of the Republic, as enshrined in the Constitution under Section 205, subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Republic. The political killings task team remains operational. Therefore, we have embarked on a process of registering a criminal investigation in order to deal with this infiltration and control of the criminal justice system by the organized crime. We, in KZN, know that a member of crime intelligence or members of crime intelligence released classified documents and handed them over to a member of parliament. That includes vetting documents, as well as covert properties. We all know in the country that the Joint Standing Committee of Intelligence is the one that must supervise the operations of a secret fund account, not only for the South African Police Service, but all the intelligence agencies in the country. That the members of crime intelligence gave these documents to the member of parliament, and the member of parliament registered a criminal case in Gauteng where he was alleging that some of the officials within crime intelligence were issued fraudulent vetting clearance certificates. After opening the case, he sends a communication to the Minister of Police. He asks the Minister of Police to take these dockets and assign them to someone else. The Minister of Police Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, wrote a letter to the head of the NPA, newly established unit, which is referred to as IDEC, Investigating Directorate Against Corruption, to investigate these cases. These are allegations of a manipulation of a vetting process, not a state capture, not corruption. But IDEC receives this communication from the Minister of Police to take these dockets, and IDEC does exactly that. They go and take these dockets, and they investigate them. I wonder whether is this what the unit IDEC was established for. The Minister of Police invited and facilitated the peace talk between myself, the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal, and the Deputy National Commissioner, Lieutenant Jairus Beer, in his office, in his house, State House, official residence in Pretoria. The purpose of the invitation was to try and create peace between myself and the Deputy National Commissioner. It was unprecedented. I've never seen in my life. The National Commissioner was present, but he just kept quiet because it was not his meeting. The Minister of Police felt that he must make me and Jairus Beer to find peace. Surely, there can never be peace between a criminal and the police officer. As we speak, the South African Police Service, KwaZulu-Natal, still does not have a leader within crime intelligence because of the letter where the minister suspended the filling of vacancies at crime intelligence, which is dated the 31st of December. So to date, we don't have a command of crime intelligence. In this province, we are trying to figure out on our own how to infiltrate syndicates because the minister decided these posts must not be filled. The crime intelligence at the national level has no commander as we speak. And we must thank the magistrate who made the ruling that went beyond what the charge sheet against the accused is about, which the members were charged on HR-related matters that dealt with filling of vacancies. The magistrate directed that these members must never enter any premises of crime intelligence in the country. So which means all the work of crime intelligence had to come to a halt. Interesting for us is that another magistrate who then had the matter of the second accused on that case, who had remained in custody last week, did not issue the same condition. He understood that the judiciary cannot get involved in determining whether people must go back to work or not. It is an employer that must make the decision. But I must just indicate to the South Africans that Mr. Padayache, who appeared in court on the day when these police officers were arrested, whom the magistrate referred to as an investigating officer, is a former member of crime intelligence himself. He retired from the police and he went to join this new unit, IDEC. He is now referred to as a lead investigator with no qualification, no investigative experience at all. But he is a person whom the magistrate directs that if anything is wanted at crime intelligence, must go via him. So he gives him a carte blanche to access anything at crime intelligence on behalf of the members that are employed to work there. The vetting section within crime intelligence has more powers than any other units within that space because they can scrutinize everything about the applicant who's applying for security clearance. And they can manipulate that security clearance process for their own benefit. So I stand here understanding, as leading this province of KwaZulu-Natal, that fighting organized crime remains a priority as directed by government. The National Commissioner remains my commander and the commander of all of us as we wear this uniform. And we must protect this badge and the police commissioner. I call on all men and women in law enforcement, the South African Police Service and Metro Police to stand up and protect our people. Yes, sometimes law can stand on the way to achieve justice. We must choose justice. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you, colleagues. That was the brief from the Provincial Commissioner. We are going to share this with you to look at the numbers and stuff later on, after this briefing. Now it's time for you to ask questions related to this. Let me see by the show of hands. And with this one, we are doing only one round. And we are done. I've got 3 hands already. Jason, you go first.
Thank you so much. Jason Tati from ENCA. General, thank you for the
comprehensive update. I did hear you say that there will be a criminal investigation, but I want to ask you more directly. Would Minister and CBA be investigated, or are they being investigated as we speak for this? Because from what you've outlined, there are clearly a number of crimes that have been committed there, and these are the names that have been central to what you've been outlining. The second part of this is, what does this mean for your working relationship, for the work that you do here with your team? Considering that there is this, it's more than an elephant in the room, but considering that there is this, how will this impact the work that you do? And I think the last question is, with everything that you've said here now, what do you foresee happening to you? Do you see any implications for yourself based on everything you've revealed?
Thank you. I'll take one, I'll answer to each one of you. I'm a police officer who understood the task at hand. When I joined the service, it was my resolve to make sure that I deal with criminals head on. Hence, I had chosen a career within the combating side of policing. That's what led me to work in the units that I worked for over time. Yes, I've been a provincial commissioner, and I'm still a provincial commissioner, coordinating different type of policing operations in this province. And I've been involved with a lot of operations in the country in the past. And I understand that at this present moment, the war that we are facing is so serious that it deals with high-level senior officers within the criminal justice system. Therefore, it is important for us to go into a combat mode. It is important for me to make sure that I take on the enemy directly. So when you see me and you see this management and you understand that we have hard-working men and women, not only in KZN, but across the board in the country, who doesn't like crime, who doesn't like these criminals. I, fortunately, am a citizen in this country. My families are spread across different provinces. So it is my duty and the fellow police officers to protect them. So I'm not going to surrender their freedom. I'm not going to surrender their safety to anyone. So I will die for this badge. I will die for them. So I will fight this fight until the end. Wherever the end is, we will fight. We're not going to stop. We've got family members, brothers and sisters, we've got children that are exposed to drugs. This drug cartel, which includes a group in Gauteng that's operating in Gauteng as their headquarters, are importing these drugs from abroad, South America in the main, through this port of Durban, amongst others, to Gauteng, and they process them in Gauteng, and from there they distribute this drug all over in the country as well as other countries. We've been involved with a lot of shooting incidents in KZN, especially at Tinanda. As we're engaging with these youngsters, we're doing analysis, and we're realizing, yes, they might be ill-disciplined kids, but their behavior is encouraged by the substance that they take. It gives them courage to kill, it gives them courage to rape, it gives them courage to murder. And if we take away this substance, they will become good citizens. They will become good kids. So therefore, we need to get rid of drugs. Now, we understand when we fight with the drug cartels that have controlled police generals, have controlled prosecution and judiciary, it's not going to be a small game. So unfortunately, some of us have to sacrifice. We've reached a stage where we are sacrificing for the good of the South Africans, for the children of South Africa, to be free from drugs. So I do hope that the authorities that have been briefed about this will take necessary action in dealing with it. As a police officer, I cannot turn a blind eye when I see a crime being committed. That's why I mentioned that. We are already working with the prosecution, working on case dockets for those that took a decision to stop the investigation. So we have to investigate to establish, because this new administration came into office last year. This IMC that was established by the president has been in existence before the new government. Ever since the new government took over, to date, there's never been a briefing given by myself, nor my management. I believe nothing done by the provincial, the project leader, which is Jara Kumalo, who's now arrested. I cannot talk much about my boss, but us, as people who are running on the ground, we have never given a presentation to the Minister of Police about the work, the successes that I presented of this political killing task team in this province. So for a decision to disband it, we are 100% sure after evidence collected that is informed by the work that they were doing in Gauteng, which the work they did in Gauteng was affecting the people that are closer to the people that are closer to our executive authority. So our investigation is going to be that wide. We're going to uncover anyone had a role to play. There are people that refer to themselves as whistleblowers. The strategy that is being used is to make sure that they taint the image of a person in a public space. They talk bad about you in the public space. For a member of parliament to come and talk about the procurement of facilities of crime intelligence, which is a covert thing, which is something that should not be in a public space, is not been questioned by anyone. The person who's accused understands that he cannot speak in public about it because it's a covert thing. If he speaks public about it, he's going to be facing a criminal offense himself. Now they're exploiting that gap, that we know this person can't speak, so let's speak and make him look bad. He can only speak behind closed doors in parliament, but he can't speak to the public. Push the man until he reaches the end, and he's going to expose the issues of national security of this country, simply because there are people with evil intentions who are pushing him to get to that stage, using the state apparatus to execute the mandate. So we have to investigate in order to be able to remove the cancer. That's where we're going to go. I hope I answered all your questions.
Just what the implications for you from this one?
Yeah, what I said when I started, that I've decided to take this fight head on. So the least that can ever happen to me is to someone to come and attack me, or somebody to issue an instruction that Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi must be fired from the police, or suspended, or arrested for that matter. What I know, what I like about KwaZulu-Natal, especially in South Africa at large, that we've got very dedicated people out there, from the law enforcement as well as private sector, especially the security companies, that we are running the streets with them on a daily basis, who understand that there's a rot in this organization, who understand these problems that you're talking about, and they're not going to sit back and allow this thing to continue. So I'm inviting all of them. I'm inviting the citizens to stand up and protect these men and women who are standing for the truth in this organization. They must protect them. Whether I'm there or not there, fight must go on. We must protect this country against crime. It's all what we can do. So whatever happens to me happens. I'll take it, whatever happens, happens. If it's prison, it will be prison. It's already on communication planned by Mohotsi, the DNC, and the Chief of Staff, that they must deal with my matters. Whatever matters comes, they will come. But what we must not surrender is this country and our children to be controlled by drug syndicates. And that's what is currently happening. Yes, sir. Who's next?
Next one. Dres was the last one. Clive.
Yes, thanks. My name is Klando from The Witness. My first question is really it's around clarity. You talk about evidence collected. Obviously, when you collect evidence, whatever evidence you get, it must be preceded by an investigation. I'm just trying to understand the nature of the investigation conducted, who authorized it.
Which one?
No, the evidence that you collected, that you have been citing.
I think it means that is only fair at arrest when those weapons were taken for ballistics. Is that what you're referring to?
No, my understanding is that there is pieces of evidence that confirms kind of a conspiracy theory against you, and you are citing pieces of evidence. I'm just saying, did you do it yourself, the collecting of this evidence?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I've said, if maybe you didn't capture this thing, so when I was talking, you were typing, that's why I didn't get some of the things.
No, I was typing much.
The team of Gauteng Organized Crime Unit been investigating a murder case of Mr. Swart. And they came across problem, and I'm going to elaborate what the problems are, which made them realize that they need support from elsewhere outside Gauteng. Because there are some senior officers that are in close communication with their targets. Hence, they came to me, and I dispatched the team to go and assist them. In that investigation the team were doing in Gauteng, under the leadership of Jaru Khumalo, who's now arrested, uncovered a lot of things. It led to the arrest of one of the drug lords and the search of the other one, and eventually the arrest of the second one. The arrest of the second one, and when they took his phone and they downloaded his phone and they found all his communication. So it is the team that was working, not me. So that's where everything was unfolding. We were asking ourselves a question as to what made the minister to decide to disband the team. We did not know until we found it from the suspect's phone. Oh, this thing came from December as a strategy to neutralize the investigation against these drug lords, because the team was perceived to be handling the drug lord case. What they did not realize is that that case docket was not part of the political task team. That case docket was in Gauteng, and the hard-working men in Gauteng were investigating that. Because they were threatened, they were supported by this team. But the docket remained there. Now, there's a number of people that should have been arrested in Gauteng that are not arrested because the prosecution does not want to sign off the warrant of arrest for those people. We do hope that pretty soon we might find some changes with good, dedicated prosecutors. We might see arrests happening. And these incidents that involves artists in this country that were killed is going to come to the fore. And when that comes to the fore, you'll remember the day when I stood here before you and I spoke about it. So my investigation in this province is not about my plot per se, but it's about the defeating the ends of justice. How do you decide to stop the investigation from March to date? Who gives you the authority? There's directives here from prosecution that investigating officer must do A to Z. These investigating officers were told to go home and leave these investigations. For whose benefit? So we ask a question. And the instruction says, as per the directive of the executive authority. Now we ask ourselves, when we're going to scrutinize this, we investigate, what is the constitutional mandate of the Minister of Police and what is the constitutional mandate of the South African Police Service? What is the Police Act saying about the powers of the Police Commissioner versus what the Minister of Police is supposed to do? There's a policy and there's operations. I had said on the record before, I will not close the task team not unless the National Commissioner gives me the instruction. That's why today this team is working. So we're not going to stop. That's why as we continue as police officers, we investigate, we're going to find the rot. Now the cancer has gone so deep that we have to now focus ourselves in here and stop chasing children at Inanda. We must get rid of the drug that make those kids to behave like that.
Yeah, no, I have two questions. The other one is around the protocols. We know in government there are strict protocols, particularly with the police, that stipulates that if you have a grievance like the one that you're telling now, these are processes that you should follow. So I just wanted to find out whether did you escalate the matter maybe up to the president, and also before you came out of course in public now. And also I just want to check, there are 11 district commissioners here. Are they in support of the stance that you have adopted? Thanks.
Yeah, well, I think the latter part, here the district commissioners Maybe they can answer themselves if you directed questions to them, but they are here because they've been briefed about this, what we are doing. You correctly said we have got chain of command, and I've said before, the National Commissioner, Jarama Simula, is my commander, and nobody else. At the provincial office, at the province of KwaZulu-Natal, I account and report to the legislature and via the executive authority in the province, of which the premier is the one that supports us. So I must communicate via the executive authority in the province, and I must communicate via the National Commission. And that's where it ends. So this information has been given to the National Commission. He knows about it. He's the one who then can dispose it further to wherever it needs to go. I had requested the portfolio committee chairperson to make sure that he invites me to attend the portfolio committee because I was not initially supposed to be part of it in March 2025. Hence, I spoke the things that I spoke before Parliament in the presence of the Minister of Police. That's where the Minister denied the knowledge of this gentleman, of which today we have evidence through that team, hard-working team in Gauteng, had picked up. That's why I want to emphasize that this whole cracking of or investigation of the syndicate was not started by the KZN police, it was started by the Gauteng members. But because they came under difficulty, they called for support. So we went there to support our colleagues. I salute those members because they don't sleep at home. Some of them have not been at home for a year because they are wanted. These are Gauteng members, it's not here. Yes, we talk about crime being coordinated in Gauteng province, but there are members in Gauteng, both SAPS, prosecution and judiciary, who are against what is happening. But because these syndicates are able to control those in power, it makes the investigation not to continue in Gauteng. That is our problem. Unfortunately, the operations of the justice system, we cannot take a case that incident happened in Gauteng and investigate it in KZN. It has to be done there. Decision to prosecute must be happen there. The judiciary, the preside over it must happen in the same place. So if those people responsible are controlled by the syndicate, then the case is going to fall flat.
Yes, no Africa, no.
PC, I just wanted clarification on whether, because you're saying that the national commander is who you report to, did he give you the go-ahead to continue with the political task team? Because you're telling us that the work continued. Did you get the go-ahead from him to continue with it, even though there was a decision that was made from above? And then I just wanted clarity on when you mentioned the arrest of Gati Sombolifo for the murder of Swart. You mentioned that the weapons that were found there, the ballistics, when they came back, they were linking to several crimes, including, you said, artists, music artists. Did you mean Johannesburg and Durban, or were you saying it as a general statement?
Maybe the second question, the firearms were linked with the murders of artists in the main. Those artists were killed in Gauteng, which dates back to 2021. I'm not saying which type of artist, but the South African prominent artists that were murders, their case has not been resolved to date. At least in KZN, we've made an arrest that is known in public about the murder of AKA and his friend. But in Gauteng, we haven't had much. We now know there is firearms linked with murders of some of those artists. So, but the decision must now be taken that these people must be prosecuted because they are now known who are the suspects that are involved. The first part of your question, I'm not sure if I remember very well now everything that you've asked on it. With regard to the political task team. The minister issues a letter on the 31st. The National Commission is on leave. National Commission comes back from leave. He's concerned about this directive of the minister because it's got criminal in it. That you don't stop a criminal investigation. Even the National Commission himself can't tell a constable to stop an investigation. So who is then the minister can say that? And the Deputy National Commissioner will then issue these directives. The National Commissioner signs a letter, a call-up instruction, to continue deploying this task team to work. He authorized it in black and white, and he even put budget on it. So the team has been working ever since under the authority of the National Commission. The National Commission has never disbanded the team. That's why I said he never issued the instruction of withdrawing of case dockets. Hence the investigation, because we now have to establish who then does this. So surely if the National Commission doesn't toe the line, he must go himself, most likely. Wonder why we had some things on the news last weekend. Because then if he goes, they take over and everything can be controlled.
Last one. Okay, SABC. Both of you.
Okay.
There is, yes.
Sir, yes, just for clarity's sake, we have the case that's looking into the drug syndicate in Gauteng. You also talk about looking into the defeating the end of justice. Now, when we talk about that, where was the case registered? Which unit is carrying that docket?
I said we are busy discussing this with the prosecution. We are putting this evidence together. We have not registered a case yet because we still needed to get some clarity from people who are part of this investigation, who have issued whether they issue the instruction, where does the instruction come from, and so forth. We understand this to be a task of the interministerial committee. Then we'll expect the ministers of these departments to also assist us to tell us whether, as the committee, did they issue this instruction that authorize the disbandment of the team, and so forth. So once we compile all those things and then the prosecutors are happy with it, then we'll register the docket, then we can be able to take it to court and be able to hear what could have been the reasons behind.
Nimpo, last one.
Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi from SABC. Just a couple of questions, PC. You mentioned that Brown report from the Northwest. Does he enjoy the support of the Minister of Police? And you keep on mentioning the Minister of Police in all your investigations. Are you insinuating that the Minister is involved or is linked in criminal elements that you have been mentioning? And then
maybe ask one by one so I don't keep on forgetting.
First one.
No. Let me answer this one. Then she can ask another one. The Minister of Police, through the communication that we received, first he writes a letter, he disbands the team. In the same letter, he stops the filling of vacancies. We are 7 months down the line without a command of crime intelligence. We don't know the reason. We've asked the National Commission to explain to us why is this. He says the minister gave the instruction. So we don't know what is the intention. And we, in Parliament, even say that we don't know what informs the minister to say disband the team, because the team's work speaks for itself, is there. I mean, on frequent basis, the previous ministers were briefing the nation about what the team is doing. This new current administration has not done that. Now suddenly we see the letter that says the team is disbanded. We don't know the reason. Fortunately for the investigation happening in Gauteng under the leadership of the project manager, which is Jaro Kumalo, and evidence is retrieved from one of the criminal syndicates, which makes it clear that there's a communication between the minister and these people. The very same minister goes on record on a teleconversation he's having with someone else, where he says, I know this is my comrade. Whereas he has said in Parliament he does not know the person. We see on the records communication of this Brown Mkhwanazi together with an accused. The communication that involves police things amongst them is to deal with Mkhwanazi and Kumalo. Amongst them is to expeditiously applying disciplinary regulations of the South African police deal with Mkhwanazi. That's why there's a call in public from a person that I will not necessarily mention his name, that the National Commission must bypass the disciplinary regulations of the service, must simply suspend these people because they are arrested. Why is that call? It's a call that is putting more pressure to make sure that the crime intelligence is handing over to the criminal syndicates. That's what it's about. So the people make calls and they disregard that which is a rule in the organization. You commit a misconduct, produce a report as an arresting authority to the executive authority or to the leader of that institution and say, this person was arrested for A to Z. And what comes after next is an internal investigation, to establish whether do we keep this person in that environment or not. If we keep this person, will it not interfere with the investigation or not? But those powers are taken away from the National Commission, who was supposed to do that by the court, by magistrate, who says you must not go there. So automatically it means the court have now taken the role of the National Commission dealing with the disciplinary matter by suspending people. The National Commission is confused now. What does this court mean? That's why today the National Commission has not appointed anyone. Which means a whole month, a whole week has gone by. These kinds of suffering, there's no head of crime intelligence. Because court decided, not the court, maybe let me rephrase, one presiding officer decided that these people cannot go on work there. So that almost suspended the entire disciplinary regulations of the police, which is a concern. Not to say people did not commit misconduct. They would have been arrested if they committed misconduct. But allow the internal process to happen. But they are not doing that. They are on the media are taking. Another question.
Now, please see, with all this work that you have been doing, arresting criminals and trying to dismantle this drug cartel or criminal syndicates, do you believe that all these investigations against you, they were purposefully targeting you so that you can be removed or eliminated from these investigations? And do you believe that your safety is in jeopardy after this revelation?
Yeah, well, the safety of South Africans is in jeopardy. At least Mkhwanazi still has a firearm. He still has a men and women that he works with. He can still somehow protect himself. There are men and women out there that are vulnerable, that got no one to protect. So we can't be worried about our own safety. We must worry about the safety of the citizens. So ours is to go out there and lay our life to protect them. That is my only concern right now. Not about my safety. You know, everyone shall die. The time will come. If it comes, it comes. But if an enemy comes to you, attack the enemy. Don't allow the enemy to take advantage. You can't just lie with your arms in your hands like that. You have to fight. So that's what we are doing now in KZN, and we shall fight. And this fight is very big. So it needs people who are committed. People who are not worried. No, they're going to chase you. They're going to arrest you. Get out of that prison and fight. They're going to suspend, they're going to dismiss you, they can get you out of the police. When you're out of the police, join men and women in the private sector that are dedicated in dealing with this criminality and fight from outside. That's why we're calling on them to also join us to fight. That is not going to stop. So I'm not worried about my safety in as far as these investigations are concerned. I said I must ask one question at a time. What is the other one that was professor? Thank you so much, because we forgot as well.